channel, and in today's video we are going to be doing my end of the year book haul. It's crazy to think that we're already at the end of 2025, but we're gonna go ahead and jump into some books. I did have a lot of books to choose from, but I chose my most recent 12 for 12 days of Bookmas. I thought that was really cute. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about the 12 books that I recently just purchased or received as a gift. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into today's book haul. So we're gonna start off with the one book that I got off of Pango, which is Immortal Dark. I do have this on paperback, but I wanted the sprayed edge copy, so of course I had to find it. If you guys don't know what Pango Books is, it is the place where you can sell secondhand used books of yours. You can also find secondhand used books of other people, so it's a nice platform. If you have not checked it out, click the link down below and check out Pango. It's nice, it's cheap, it's affordable. You can also support other people buying books versus Amazon or Barnes and Nobles. But yes, I got Immortal Dark. This is by Tigas. I can't pronounce her last name, but this follows Keenan. Keenan is looking for her sister June. I have made it to like 60-70% through this book. I just always soft DNF, maybe because it's not the right time for me to read it. But yes, I wanted the sprayed edge edition, so I picked this up for like $9, I believe. And this cover is gorgeous. And it says, "In Lost Air, a soulless vampire and a secret drenched in blood." I do know that in this society, every vampire is assigned to a house, and the house is managed by humans, if I'm not mistaken. Each house has a secret, each house has a rule. Keenan is looking for her lost sister, and she believes that the vampire of her house stole her. So that's part of the premise and the plot. I'm really excited to read this. If you guys have not heard anything about Immortal Dark, go look it up. You will find a lot of things. I recently just came across a spoiler for this when book 2 came out, so I do know a little spoiler. That's not gonna stop me from reading this. But yes, this is Immortal Dark. And then piggybacking off of Immortal Dark, I did pick up Eternal Ruin. Gorgeous. I'm not all the way finished with the first book, but I will be continuing the series. When this came out, I literally ran to my Barnes and Nobles on release day to pick this up. It says on the side, "Love is the first enemy, death is the second." This cover is stunning, just like that. And when I read hardcovers, I take my dust jackets off, so I'm excited that this one actually has some words on it. It says, "Like all ruins names, he becomes from the abyss." I'm not gonna read the premise because it kind of spoils the first book, and I'm not through with the first book. So yes, the second book I recently just purchased is Eternal Ruin. You can't lie, these two on a shelf next together is just so freaking cute. Like, look at that. I think she and her team did a great work designing these. So yes. Then when I got off of Amazon, I got The Mean Ones. This is by Tiana. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but this follows a girl named Sadie. It says, "So what if Sadie hears talking dead animals and a strange comforting male voice in her head? Her therapist insists that these are just symptoms of PTSD. It makes sense considering that she had hid under a bed and watched as her best friends were slaughtered. But murderers were 17 years ago, back when her name was Sabrina. Now she's Sadie, perfectly normal 29-year-old. She works as a physical therapist assistant and lifts weights with her boyfriend Lucas, who's the sweetest, most considerate man, as long as he's not angry. But when Lucas spontaneously agrees to a couple's trip in a cabin in the woods, the visions get worse. Strange figures start stalking her during the night, and the male voice in Sadie's head keeps calling, asking her to do things she never fathomed. Sadie's not sure if it's paranoia or something entirely different, but she is sure of one thing: this time she's not going to sit and idle as everything starts to unravel." I have Such Lovely Skins by her, and I'm obsessed with the premise of that book as well. So I was like, okay, let me pick this up. This is her new release, and the cover is just gorgeous. This is one of my anticipated releases of 2025, and I have not read it yet. I need to get on it, but right now I'm kind of in the Christmassy mood. But this is The Mean Ones by Tatiana. I don't know, something about talking dead animals and the voice inside your head. I want to know, are you possessed or are you crazy? Like, I gotta figure it out. Another book that was on my Amazon wish list that someone from my book club gifted me. So this book is An Heir Comes to Rise. This follows a girl named Faith. She is immortal in this world, but she loves swordplay. She was an orphan and she decides to try out for the King's Guard. During that trial period or whatever, she runs across a guy named Nick. He is a night walker and he does something to figure out that Faith is a night walker as well, which is kind of impossible because Faith is also mortal, which I guess mortals are not supposed to have these abilities. But it says deadly abilities, abilities that will teach Faye blood really does run thicker than water, and if she doesn't trust the higher power soon, blood will run indeed. On her town, she has deeper bonds to protect. It seems everyone will die with a dark secret to tell, but what if one unlikely human girl was born harboring the darkest secret of all? So I know this is, I think it's a 3-book series. I'm really excited. This has been on my radar for a good minute. So I appreciate one of my besties in the book club for purchasing this for me. Huge stack of books from Barnes & Nobles. Y'all, I use my membership. That's all I'm saying. First we have A Riddle of Thorns. This is by two sisters, I believe. Yes. And I honestly picked this up because she reminds me of Yennefer from The Witcher. Like, tell me she doesn't. Tell me she doesn't. Riddle of Thorns is a twisty, dark academia mystery, glaring elements, unsettling, and perfect for the fans of Divine Ravers and the Inheritance game. The back says, welcome to Rawthorn Manor. Complete my task and you shall win my inheritance. One exclusive Rawthorn seed and the mayor itself. All competitors must swear their secrecy with blood. And when all is said and done, one victor will rise. Let the games commence. Which I think this is kind of cool. You know, to not really be around your parent or be around your mother. You're sent away as a child. She passes away and you're thinking, okay, I'm coming home to my estate, and there's a twist. So I'm really, really excited to pick this up. It does look like she has some type of magical powers from the front. And it also says on the front, a mystery unfolds like a flower blooming, leaving the reader eager to uncover a new secret. So yes, this is Riddle of Thorns. This is kind of like an impulse purchase, but not really, because I did read like the first 2 chapters in this story. I have Deadly Ever After. This is by Brittany Johnson. I had seen this cover months ago before it released. I just kind of wiped it off. I was like, oh, this is her first debut novel. I don't know if I'm going to like it. Then I was in Barnes & Nobles one day and I seen it. So I am excited to pick this up. It says, the right kiss will save them, the wrong kiss will kill them. This follows 2 princesses who are, I think, it's supposed to die. Or they both die. Yes, they both already die. And when they wake up, they're in a cursed forest. The gods offer them a second chance at life if they could find true love's kiss. But there's a catch. The gods warn, while the right kiss will save you, the wrong kiss will kill you. Confused by the gods' mission, but desperate to save their lives, the princess set out on a quest, relying on each other to overcome the deadly challenges thrown their way. As they grow closer, but they begin to wonder if true love is awaiting at the end of the journey or is it standing right in front of them. But can they open their hearts when death looms at every turn? I think this is so cute. This is going to be like a little sapphic kind of romance. And then also the stakes are pretty high because if you kiss the wrong love interest, you die. So that's not, you know, really something you want to be doing. But honestly, the cover is gorgeous. It's stunning. I'm excited to see what this author brings to the table. And then I picked up this. Sydney from Sydney Bookworms. She raves about this series. She does. And I was like, you know, it's a long series. Every book is thick. I don't really know if this is my cup of tea. And then one day I was looking at it and I was like, this sounds really interesting. But this is Dungeon Crawler Carl. Very, very weird title. But this follows a guy who I believe like the end of the world kind of happens, a zombie apocalypse, and if you're inside of a building you die, but if you were on the outside of the building you survived. And it says the apocalypse will be televised. Welcome to the first book in the wildly popular, addictive New York Times best-selling Dungeon Crawler Carl series, now with bonus material chapters in this print edition. You know what's worse with breaking up with your girlfriend? Being stuck with her prize-winning show cat. And you know what's worse than that? An alien invasion, the destruction of all man-made devices on Earth. Join Coast Guard vet Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, as they try to survive the end of the world, or just like the next level of the video game, like trap-filled fantasy dungeon, a dungeon that is actually set on a reality television show with countless viewers across the galaxy. Exploding goblins, magical potions, and deadly drug-dealing llamas. This isn't your ordinary game show. Welcome, crawler. Welcome to the dungeon. Survival is optional. Keeping the viewers entertained is not. So I think this is going to be funny. Also, a freaking sidekick that is a cat is also going to be hilarious. So I am dying to pick this up. And if I'm not mistaken, it's like 7 or 8 books in the series. So I don't know. I'm already deep into another 7 or 8 book series, which is the Finley Donovan series. So I feel like, why not? Then I picked up a book that I seen. It's called Another by Paul Tremblay. I never knew his books to be in Barnes & Nobles. When I seen it, I had to get it. I did not know it was middle grade though, but this follows a boy who doesn't really have a lot of friends. And one day they get a knock on the door, and it's a guy and his son. And his parents like, "Ooh, you guys can play together." And he's like, "What are you talking about? That's not a kid. Like, something is wrong with the guy." And the parents like, "No, it's fine. Like, this is your new friend. You guys are gonna play together." And he's like, "What the hell?" Wilson's parents tell him that his friend is coming over for a sleepover. He has no idea who that might be. Ever since the Zoom incident, everyone treats him differently. His tics are worse than ever. When Morel appears, he's not like any friend Casey has ever met. His skin is like clay. He doesn't speak, but Casey's parents are charmed by the strange kid. And it's nice to see someone. It's nice to have someone to talk to besides his sister, Allie, who is away at college. And Paul Tremblay is a best-selling horror author, so I'm really excited to see what this book entails. But to have a sleepover with a friend that you've never even met before is insane. And then during the sleepover to realize like he's not a kid at all, even more disturbing. So I'm really excited to pick this up. I do see a couple of my mutual goals on Instagram talking about this book as well. We have The Secret Library. I picked this up on a whim. Look at this freaking cover. It kind of reminds me of Amari and the Great Game, or Amari and the Night Brothers. I think Amari and the Great Game is the 3rd book. But anyways, this is The Secret Library. This follows Dahlia Peterson yearns for an adventure. Ever since her beloved grandfather died, her days are dull and predictable. That is until she discovers that he left something behind for her, a map that leads to a library full of mysterious volumes. This is no ordinary library. Rather, each book is a portal to a persistent moment in time, allowing the reader to travel to the past and experience a real-life seeker. But soon Dally learns that the library is much more than a fun place to explore. It has intentions for her and could transform her life forever. So I'm excited. This kind of gives me magical treehouse vibes, where they go in a treehouse and they're ported to all these different worlds. And it's middle grade. I think I'm gonna have a really good time with this, and I just love seeing Black girls on covers and us being the main characters, so I had to pick this up. The author of The Roommate with the Vampire, or My Vampire is a Roommate, they had Road Trip with the Vampire, Things for the Memories. Now, I loved her first book. I did not buy the second book, which is My Vampire Plus One. I just really wasn't interested, but I love her writing style. And then to go on a road trip with a vampire, I just want to know how they're gonna do that, because vampires can't be out in the day. So I'm very intrigued. A vampire who can't remember his past and a witch with secrets of her own hit the road in this zany cross-country romantic comedy. This follows Zelda. Zelda is a witch. She moves to California to get away from vampires, and then one day Peter Elliott, yes, Peter Elliott shows up at her doorstep with a letter from Reggie. You meet Reggie in the first book. I think these are interconnected standalones, but you meet Reggie in the first book, and it's a letter basically saying that this vampire has amnesia and could you help him? Undead and Unwed. I love this. I ate this book up. I did give it 5 stars, like I already said, but this just follows a vampire. You get to see her try to date a human, which is kind of funny. If you're looking for a nice, cute, wintry rom-com, I definitely recommend you picking this up. But it says on the back, "Can this vampire get off the naughty list?" And it was just cute. It was wholesome. I'm really excited to read more from Sam. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, but she's going to be on my radar. Probably pick up a lot of her new releases that she creates. And last but not least, 12 for 12, we got I, Medusa. I love this book. I love this book. Just the premise of a black girl being Medusa, her story being told, and also like the book is gorgeous. They did their big one. It says Maiden, Mistress, Monster, Myth. It says Maddie has spent her whole life as a footnote in someone else's story, out of place next to her beautiful immortal sisters and her parents, both gods. She dreams of leaving her family island for a life of adventure. When she catches the eye of the goddess Athena, who invites her to train as an esteemed apprentice in her temple, Medi leaps at the chance to see the world beyond her home. In this colorful market streets of Athens, noticed by an Olympian, the course of Medi's promising future is suddenly altered when her locks are transformed into snakes as punishment for a crime she did not commit. Medusa must embrace her new identity, not as a victim but as a villain. And with this, the chance she write her own story as a mortal myth, exploding rage, heartbreak, and love. I, Medusa portrays a young woman caught and cross currents between her heart's deepest desires and the cruel and careless game of the Olympians gods play. So I'm excited to see a black woman main character. I love the story of Medusa, so I'm really excited to see how Ayana Gray is gonna do this story. She is an author of Beast of Prey, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, I've heard many great things. All of people who I've seen review this gave this book 4 or 5 stars. So on release day, I had to pick it up and support. And I just love this gold and green patterned cover. It's just really cute. And I love how her braids, they start off as locks and they turn into snakes. Very cute detailing. But yes, guys, that is it for my end of the year book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys maybe tomorrow.